It's time for TWiT. This show is so big, I need a wide-angle lens. Coming up, Tom Merritt, Jim Louderback, Kevin Rose, Sarah Lane. This Week in Tech 250 is up next. Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT. Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by AOL Music and Spinner.com, where you can get free MP3s, exclusive interviews, and more. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 250, recorded May 30th, 2010. It's no Abu Dhabi. This Week in Tech is brought to you by GoToMeeting. Reduce costs, improve efficiencies, and help your company's bottom line with GoToMeeting. For your free 30-day trial, visit gotomeeting.com/twit. And by Audible.com. To download 2 free audiobooks of your choice, go to audible.com/twit2. And don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter at audible_com. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off your new account, go to squarespace.com/twit. It's time for TWiT, the show that covers all the technology news, and boy, I'm having fun already, and we've only just begun because it's kind of a Tech TV reunion today. First, let me welcome to the studio Mr. Jim Louderback of Revision 3. He's the CEO over there. It's good to see you, Jim.
It's good to see you, Leo.
Jim was, what were you, editorial director at Tech TV?
Yeah, something like that.
Vice president and editorial director, something like that.
Yeah, I was there at the start, as you were.
At the very beginning.
As you were.
Yeah, the good old days. And also joining us from his, are you in San Francisco, from his home in San Francisco? Kevin Rose. Who also started at Tech TV as a little tech guy.
That's right. I got your coffee for you every morning.
No.
Sugars and cream.
BS.
Filter fresh.
Never. But Kevin did make his breakout on the screensavers when he discovered a bug in Microsoft's Windows. Was it? It was that messaging system that they had.
Yeah. NetSend or whatever it was.
NetSend, yeah. And
right.
He told us, we contacted Microsoft, they said it's not a bug, it's a feature. So we said, well, Kevin, why don't you talk about it on the show? And the rest, as they say, is history. He became the dark tipper. Then
jeez.
Then
I got a drink to that.
And then on to bigger and better things as the CEO of Dig, and also Dig Nation, the show on Revision 3 and System and other shows. And Dig is having a big rollout soon. We're going to ask you about Dig Forward, and you can tell us what you can tell us, but
cool.
No more. I won't put you on the spot. Also, your former co-host from the Screensavers, and I'm very pleased to say our newest hire at TWiT, Ms. Sarah Lane.
Yay! Hey, everybody.
So great to have you. And Sarah joins the team June 1st, Tuesday. We're going to be doing a couple of shows with you. The Green Tech Today show, which you and Kiki will host. And you and I'm so pleased. We haven't done a show together in 5 years.
I'm so excited about this. I wasn't kidding in my blog when I talked about iPad apps poolside, Leo. So
yeah. So you've been playing with the iPad. We're going to do a show called iPad Today. Sarah and I will host that. And you didn't have an iPad, so I had to give you one.
Yes. And it's great because I'm like the first one I know who has the 3G because everybody else just got the first one. So I'm kind of the cooler person.
Yeah, you waited.
I love my iPad. Maybe unhealthily so.
Have you played We Rule yet?
No.
It's like Farmville for the iPad. Do not.
I won't. I don't like Farmville at all.
I've spent like $100 on that game.
You play Oh, that's right, Kevin. You do play We Rule. Yeah. And that finally brings us to our other new hire.
Does this mean I'm not the newest now?
You're not the newest.
I'm not the newbie anymore?
He's the second newest hire, Mr. Tom Merritt, whose show Tech News Today launches on Tuesday with
Becky Worley.
Yes!
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Miss Sarah Lane Monday and Friday.
So exciting.
And Dr. Kiki joining us most Thursdays. So
this is exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be fabulous.
I'm so happy about this.
We got some special guests booked for the first week. some folks you might know from other shows that I've done, but no CNET employees, so don't get too freaked out. But yeah, I'm looking forward Tuesday at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. Check it out. We've been putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into getting ready for this thing, so I can't wait to actually get it going.
I was looking for a woman who was as macho as Molly Wood, and I think Becky qualifies.
They both played rugby.
They're both tough as nails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
strongly
no
opinionated.
One can replace Molly Wood, but I'm very, very happy to have
really
Becky
thrilled.
because that's a woman who knows some stuff.
However, she is not a treacherous little ball of steel like Sarah Lane is.
No.
I wouldn't take Becky. I would not take Becky.
No. I tried to take Becky. She took me down 2 out of 3.
I mean, I'm treacherous, with people my
I wouldn't go near that.
Yeah.
No, Becky is tough. Becky was the first producer of the Screensavers and Call for Help, remember?
Yeah.
She launched both those shows. And she and I had an interesting symbiotic relationship. She was in my ear for many years.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to both.
So
everybody.
Exciting.
That's going to be
so
on the
exciting.
show.
You always at Tech TV, you would always give Becky right of way. She was like the steamship coming through that you had to just move to the side.
Well, Tom, I think you sent us a list of people you'd like to work with. Sarah was one of them, but you said, and here's like the long shot was Becky Wood.
Yeah, Becky was near the end because she's doing the ABC stuff. I was like, we can't.
No way we can get her.
We got Becky. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's a testament to you, and I'm just really excited. So watch out, Jim.
A solid lineup.
Here comes TWiT.
When are you hiring me?
Anytime. Door is open. No, we've actually now officially outgrown, as you can tell because you're in here, outgrown not only the studio but the entire building. And I think the next step very soon is going to be to move to a larger studio.
I appreciate the IBM
facility.
PS2 3286 you gave me as
You
my
like
computer. That? Yeah, it's gonna be very useful.
Hey, it was mine for years.
Yeah.
What, Sarah gets an iPad and you get an old IBM?
I already had an iPad. So.
He wanted Windows. What can I say?
I wanted Windows 286.
Yeah.
That was my request.
Did you know that we're actually just crossed the 20th anniversary of Windows 3.0?
Right.
Was last week.
It's insane.
Kevin, you don't even remember Windows 2.0.
Listen, so my first version was 3.0, but I have Windows 1.0 sealed in box in the Computer History Museum down next to Google.
You mean that's yours? That's your copy?
It says on loan from Kevin Rose.
Nice. Where did you get it?
I bought it off of eBay, believe it or not, like about maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
I remember, Kevin, before you gave it to the computer museum, you had it in your house, like over in like where your tea was, and I picked it up, and you were like, "Put that down."
It's in the box, sealed.
She's starting to open it up and try and install it.
No, you just didn't want me to touch it. It's sealed. I thought, what's this?
Sealed. It's like a
that's like an original, Jabba the Hutt in plastic. You don't want to mess with that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it stays on the shelf.
Yeah,
you don't touch it.
I can
Dust
understand.
it every once in a while, and that's it.
So I did my thesis in grad school on Windows 1.0 when it was in beta.
I remember you telling me that.
The most amazing thing about Windows 1.0 was that you could open up 16 copies of the clock without crashing the computer.
16.
And that was
the
radical.
test.
That was amazing.
That was the test.
I had Windows 286. That IBM PS2 is actually sitting upstairs. I brought it in.
There is an IBM PS2 upstairs?
Yeah. And I had Windows 286 on disk that I loaned to Kevin Reno. Do you remember him, the IT guy?
Yep.
He still has it. He says, it's in my garage somewhere. I'll get it back to you. So, Kevin, I'm still waiting.
Actually, that PS2 is a chew toy for your dog who you're planning to bring in, right?
Yeah, that's right. Django's going to be
Django be chewing on the PS2. So, a lot to talk about this week. And actually, I think you all will have something to say about the Facebook press conference they had this week. Mark Zuckerberg said, all right. He seems like the kind of guy who, maybe like me too, thinks it's easier to ask forgiveness than to ask permission.
Oh, yeah, I remember working with you.
So basically what Facebook keeps doing is they keep changing their privacy policy, and then the users keep complaining, and then Facebook says, oh, my bad. And they changed it again now to there's 3 big buttons that let you kind of default it. But they didn't do the thing that I would have liked them to do, which is to make everything private, and then you opt in, you choose. Was that going to happen, Tom?
No, because Facebook wants to give you as little privacy as possible. That's the less privacy you opt into.
That's really the issue,
the more
isn't it?
money they make, and so they're bowing to pressure here by saying, okay, we've had enough beating up in the press and from our users. We need to adjust this, but they're going to adjust it as little as they think they can get away with.
Right.
Why do you think it's tied to money, though? Why do you think it's the more money they make, the less private?
Well, and you're closer to this kind of business model than me, Kevin. So maybe I have a misimpression, but it seems like the more information they have in their database to sell to advertisers, the more money they make. And so it's in their interest to encourage you to try to allow some of that to be public so that they can monetize it.
Well, it's more than that, though, isn't it? I mean, they want to be like Twitter. They look at. Isn't there a little bit of Twitter envy, Kevin? That they say, "Oh, look how easy it is for Twitter. All the different ways Twitter could monetize its user base that we can't."
So I think there's a couple things going on. So I'll say this and try and I'm not name dropping or anything like that, but I happened to.
I know you know Zuck.
I went out to dinner with him like a week and a half ago. And we were chatting. I was like, hey, so what's going on with the privacy stuff, blah, blah, blah. And one of his point to me was that what they're really pushing for is that he doesn't want to become stale. And the way that he looks at it is that the world is evolving into more, social sharing of information. The default is now more public sharing. He sees this with Twitter, with a bunch of new startups, and he's like, how can I continue to evolve and embrace that stuff and hopefully make the experience better for the user? So I'll give you an example. We talked about one of their features they have called instant personalization, which is basically what it does is as you go out and you fan different things, so let's say you fan like different bands that you like, things like that, they can provide third-party websites. They will pass to them your user ID, so when you visit that site, they can go in and pull only the public information about you. So anything that a search engine could pull that anybody else could pull. So I'll give you an example. If you were to go today and you land on Pandora, you would actually get a custom experience, even though you hadn't logged into Pandora. Pandora would go out, talk to Facebook.
I freaking hate
weird.
that.
It's weird. I agree with you. I agree with you. But hold on one sec. So it says at the top, you can opt out, blah, blah, blah. It goes in, it pulls all the public data that any search engine would be able to get. And then they bring in automatic recommendations of music and started playing for you. Now, here's the thing. I said to him, I'm like, that feels kind of weird, blah, blah, blah. And I think he knows everyone thinks it's a little bit weird, but he doesn't want to. His whole thing is it's really an experiment, and they want to continue to push the envelope. I don't think he's coming at it from like a super greedy or like I want to make more money.
You know what it feels like to me? This is the problem, is that Facebook was private to begin with. Facebook made a promise to me. We'll keep it private unless you say otherwise. You tell us who you want to share it with. That was the promise. And I feel it's like a friend that I went and I told something secret to, and then he blabbed it. And then he said, oh, my bad. So I go back. I said, okay, I understand. You made a mistake. He blabs it again.
So the reason you feel that is because they walked you through that wizard that essentially said, like, default to public, right?
The initial promise was 100% private, and they changed it in such a way that even I couldn't figure out. And even Zuck couldn't figure out. His own pictures were published. And he said, oh, nobody would mind that.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
It's not really, in my mind, it's not the fact that he wanted to try all this stuff, and it's even not the fact that he wants to default all new users to be public, because if he does want to do that, that's fine.
If you start fresh, but you don't call it Facebook. You don't call it Facebook. You call it something else. You say, we're going to do Facebook Rev 2 where everything's public. But it's too late to do that with Facebook. That was the promise.
But it's still true that he makes more money the more information is made public.
That might be his incentive, but I'm willing. Who knows what people's intents are?
Yeah, I hear
right?
what Kevin's saying about that may or may not be what's really driving things, and I think that's right. But that is a.
But if it wasn't, then we'd be able to opt into all of the stuff, not be opting out.
What? Yeah, that's my question.
That's why.
That's my question. Why doesn't Facebook just say it's private unless you say otherwise, Kevin? Why don't they do that?
So here's the strategy behind the scenes, and this isn't something he told me. This is something that I'm kind of drawing the lines between everything. The public data is very useful data.
Yeah.
Not to say that they're going to monetize like the actual pages, but the idea that they can do, once data is public, like you have with Twitter, with all the data being public, you can do things like extrapolate like trends out of that. So real-time trending information about news articles. You can do more real-time search. There's a bunch of things you can do. So if Facebook ever wants to get to the world of real-time search, they're going to need all this data to be public. They can't take all the people's private data and use that to fuel a real-time search engine. They have to have public data, right? So
Kevin
if
should
their
be a Twitter
strategy,
or a Facebook spokesman.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that on Twig that we were talking about with Jeff Jarvis and Judah Trapani. Jeff said, well, why doesn't Facebook, actually it was Jay Rosen, said, why doesn't Facebook have an ombudsman, a public face? Well, part of the problem with this is that Facebook hasn't explained itself well, that, Mark isn't really great at explaining this. Elliot Schrage is worse. And so it's a PR problem as much as anything else, right?
Absolutely. For sure. And this, like you said earlier, Leo, the options have to be clear, and you have to be my mom should be able to go to Facebook, go into the privacy settings and understand exactly what's going on. And that is not the case.
Well, this new thing, though, do you think it's made a step in that direction? It seems a little bit. I
haven't played with it since they went
it's not rolled out yet. And, of course, I don't have a Facebook page to try it. But
that's right. Because you really did delete your Facebook page.
And I ain't going back.
It's gone.
To be honest, I feel like this is a bad girlfriend who 3 times now has revealed stuff that I said this is secret, and I'm not going to give her a 4th chance. I just don't think it's right.
Well, and what's interesting is a lot of people say that, if you're younger, if you're in your 20s, you're more open, you really don't care about all these issues.
Dana Boyd says that young people have a different point of view about privacy.
But I was chatting with a guy over the weekend who used to work at Common Sense Media, just left, which is a media company that helps parents talk to their kids about all this stuff. And they've done research recently that shows that as people are getting older in their 20s, they're starting to become more and more concerned about the data that they're sharing online. Well, but
those drunk pictures are already out there.
But you know what? They're going to start deleting their Facebook accounts as well. The idea that it's just a bunch of old people that are worried is not necessarily true.
I saw some posts like that about some of that research that said, actually, it's the young people who are more concerned with the privacy issues. They're more concerned with the fact that stuff that they made private is become public without their knowledge.
Jim, what are you doing?
You got to see something really scary here. Go to youropenbook.org.
Oh, this is a scary site.
This is a scary site because it uses the Facebook API and allows you to search public status updates for things like what I just did, cheated on my boyfriend, or they have a bunch of suggested searches too.
That's also a really dumb update to make. Well,
what about
that's the update you're making,
right.
then...
Well, that's what I tell kids. I tell my kids is...
if you went to the strip club, maybe Facebook is just a terrible place to talk about it.
Yeah.
To join that.
I tell my kids, if you put it on the internet anywhere, Facebook or anywhere, think of it as public. Don't put anything on the internet you wouldn't want friends, family, teachers, future employers to see. Because unfortunately, there's no way of guaranteeing this with bugs and so forth. Aaron says, I just cheated on my amazing boyfriend. He did not deserve it at all. Now, poor Aaron does not know that this is public. Little does she know that it's also going out on a major podcast and everybody's seeing it.
Or even something like Hate My Job, which is what I'm searching for now. I mean, that's, people put that up all the time.
But your future employer is going to see that.
Exactly.
Just search
or your current employer.
Yeah, or your current employer. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, it is scary. I spent some time with this site, and I feel kind of dirty having done it, but it's scary.
Well, what is interesting is this is using APIs that have been published. This is published.
This is all public information.
And so that's my problem is, A, normal people can't figure out what's public and not. B, they aren't willing to say, okay, everything I put here is public. Facebook's much more useful if you're willing to put secrets in there. And C, I don't feel like I can trust Facebook to do the right thing. I think they made a big step. One of the things they did today, this week, which was really good, is they gave you one button click to get out of that whole application, that whole Pandora thing. But, Facebook is so useful to people that it's going to be hard for them to quit. I think that's really part of the bottom line.
I think the positive thing from last week is that Facebook said, you know what, we're changing these settings, and they're going to stay that way. We are not going to flip it again. That's the biggest violation that they had done. I think other stuff is excusable for this reason or that. And other people may disagree with me, but changing something that you had selected to be private to public was inexcusable. And I'm glad that they made that clear. Like, we're not going to do that.
Kevin, you're kind of in the same boat here because Dig is, from what I've seen on the Dig 4 stuff that TechCrunch published, is moving towards a more public-facing, Twitter-like thing. There was an accusation in the Wall Street Journal that you might be giving information to advertisers.
Oh, that's completely bullshit. Like that was... I don't know how they got that wrong, but yeah, the second I saw that in the Journal, I went and called our ad sales people, and
that must have freaked you out because that's what you don't.
I was like, I've never heard of this, and I called them. They're like, no, they have it wrong, blah blah blah, and so yeah, that was wrong. But as far as
but you understand what's going on at Facebook because you have the same kind of things that you need to. Now, Dig has never been private, so you don't have that issue. Private.
Everything, submissions, comments, digs, everything that you do within the site has always been public.
So you don't have to worry about that.
we don't even have a setting to go private. So you can't even set it there if you want to.
Right. I have to say, when I looked at that video, was that leaked out? What happened with that? Was that something you intended people to see?
Well, I had a feeling it was going to, because we created a video that we wanted to send out to publishers, and we sent it out to about a couple hundred different publishers.
Including TechCrunch.
Yeah, TechCrunch got their hands on it.
You must have known. I mean, come on.
We knew absolutely it was going to go out, and that's why I wanted to make sure it was a polished video and it wasn't like some hacked together screenshot or something like that. I mean, it's gonna happen. So, yeah, basically it was announcing some of the new features that we'll be rolling out in a couple weeks when we go live with Alpha, and I'll come back to give you a demo of all that stuff.
You have promised that we will get the first live demo. So
for sure. Okay. Absolutely.
I have to say, though, and I'm not saying this to blow smoke or because of your friend, but I really think that this is exactly where Dig needs to go. I will use Dig much more because of it.
Thank you.
Can you kind of, I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but can you kind of, in a nutshell, sum up what this change is? It makes it more like Twitter.
Sure. I mean, I think that, you know, when we look at Facebook being kind of semi-private and public, and really you're not following tastemakers, you're more following your friends. And then we look at Twitter, which is, you know, completely open and public, but, you know, you get a little bit of everything. So if I'm following, you know, Tony Hawk, I get not only his skateboarding links, but status updates that say, like, I dropped my kids off at the park, which really I don't care about. I want Tony Hawk's cool skateboarding stuff, right? So we look at Dig as this kind of place where we can be a little bit more of like just news and links, right? So the ability that one click spreads that story to all of your followers that you have within Dig. The ability to auto-submit stuff. So if you have a podcast, if you have a blog, you can claim your feed, your RSS feed, and then the news story objects will come in with a title, description, and one dig automatically and go out to your followers. And then when they dig it, it's kind of like a retweet in a way, but a little bit more efficient. So it's a single button, and then it goes out to all their followers. So it's a really efficient way for links to spread around throughout the Dig ecosystem. And it really gets away from, you know, we've always had this one front page that when people get on the front page of Dig, they say, wow, this is awesome. You know, I got a ton of traffic, but, you know, only 120 or so stories per day actually make the front page. So this is a way for us in creating that way for a Dig equals spread to your friends for it to actually gain a lot of traction without even having to make the front page. And of course, if it does get enough traction, it'll make the global zeitgeist front page. But it's a lot of stuff we've needed to do for a long time.
You know why I like this? And you know, before I was at Revision 3, I was at PC Mag. I ran the websites, editor-in-chief. We would always, first there was the Slashdot effect, where you try and get your story on Slashdot. Then there was Dig, where you'd work really hard to get on the front page of Dig. And if you did, it was a home run. But you'd work really, really, really hard for that one home run, and everything else would get like this. And this, if it works, which I'm pretty sure it will, these guys are great, will allow you to have many more stories that maybe won't get as much traffic, but will really start getting really, really good traffic. Is that right, Kevin, where it's not like a couple home runs and everything else is going to be really small? There'll be a lot of sort of mid-range hits.
Yeah, so exactly. And that's what we're looking for. We're trying to really service kind of the long tail of content so that, you know, if you come in and you're really into knitting and you dig a knitting article and it spreads to your knitting followers, and it spreads without that little community inside of Dig, you'll get all of that traffic, whereas that story would never normally make the front page of, you know, Dig Today.
You know, I take full credit for this. I just want to let you know. This was my idea 2 years ago. You probably don't remember, Kevin, but I said the only problem with Dig is I don't care what 90% of the diggers think is important. I want to follow what my friends think is important. I want to see what they dig. I want to see what Jim and Tom and Sarah and Kevin dig. And I asked you, I begged you, I said, there's got to be some way that I could say, just these people, their digs. And that's really what you've done.
That's what's coming in. We're calling it My News. It's like the new default.
Well, you should call it Leo's, but okay,
so we'll call it Leo News then.
Yeah, would you please?
When you say it, it'll be.
I'll be your little icon in the upper
and
corner.
I do want to point out that in the video, you are following only one person, and it's me.
That's right.
So, but now this to me is all Dig needed to do was let me choose whose digs I pay attention to. That gets rid of all the kind of background noise for people I don't care about who are digging up the top 10 ways to, you know, whatever. And it's like Twitter where I follow exactly who I want and I get their links. That's what's really valuable about Twitter.
Did doing Pounce help you with this at all, Kevin? I mean, did you bring any lessons over?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, each one of these whole things, I mean, I've made a ton of mistakes at Dig and Pounce and you name it. And I think that, you know, that's the fun thing about starting new companies is you always learn something new. So there's little bits in Pounce that are making their way into this. Actually, we follow the Twitter directory that I created, a lot of that technology on how we rank suggested users in categories. A lot of that's going to be built right into Dig. So, yeah.
So I'm going to get a T-shirt that said Dig 4. It's my idea, right? It was my idea. So this is out in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, the alpha is going to go live in about 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah, no, I think this is to me, when I looked at and watched that video, I said, that's exactly what I want from a Dig, and it will be so much more useful. In fact, it will be kind of how I use Twitter, and it's something that I'll use a lot more, I think, than not to blow smoke, but I'm really pleased with these changes.
Key is just getting your friends to use it. Once you've got that going, then it becomes incredibly useful.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, I thought it was funny that whoever did that video was following me, because truthfully, I don't dig a lot of stuff. So that really wasn't going to be a very active feed, but now it's going to be a much more active feed because I will, absolutely.
Well, and also, as you know, people create content, it's great to be able to serve your own RSS feeds into it and have it show up there. So I think, you guys will do really well. Revision 3 will do really well with that, too.
We'll put our stuff there. It'll be kind of a little friend feedy in that sense, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, we've got feeds for different things that we don't even expose to anybody. And I'm putting like clips from Dignation or clips from Texzilla, and I'm putting that stuff up there. That'll be great.
So I didn't mean to turn this to a big ad for Dig 4.
Sorry.
I appreciate it.
I hate Dig 4. There we go. We have some balance.
No, but since we got you on, I think it's good to ask you about it, and we will get you back when you're ready to roll it out.
It'll be
we'll
the first demo.
Full demo. That's exciting. Thank you, Kevin, for doing that.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break. We're going to come back with more tech news. I know you all saw Sex and the City, and we'd love to get your review of that. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't pay money for my ticket, though. I was at a premiere thing in New York. So,
ooh, that's even more
paid,
fun.
That would have been a little different.
Does it disappoint you to know it wasn't shot in Abu Dhabi, but instead in Morocco?
No. I think a lot of things are shot in, Vancouver.
And Abu Dhabi refuses to screen
LA,
it?
for example.
I've been to Abu Dhabi. I know Abu Dhabi, and Morocco is no Abu Dhabi. Let me just say that about this.
I think Roger Ebert says it's one of the worst movies ever made.
Oh, I loved his review, by the way.
It was so funny. Yeah,
I just loved his review.
I think he said something like, "These people make my skin crawl."
Yeah.
It's well, Sex and the City fans will like it.
My wife loved it.
Movie.
And there's a character in it named Rickard Spurt. Right?
Spurt.
Dick Spurt.
Yeah.
Yep. Rickard Spurt.
Yep.
So that just shows you. Yeah. There you go.
The writing was up to snuff, wasn't
up
it?
to snuff.
IP freely.
Yellow River, one of my favorite novels.
Exactly.
We want to take a break and talk a little bit about Squarespace.com. I think half this panel uses Squarespace. I know Kevin does. I know Sarah does. I know Tom Merritt does.
Yep, I use it for Forecast Podcast.
I know we do for our Inside TWiT blog. Of course, we all got it for free. But but let me tell you, it's worth paying
No, I paid for
it.
mine.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't get a free one.
I hope you used the TWiT coupon code to save.
I used somebody's code.
Somebody's
Scam one.
That's the
or
problem, is that we all have codes.
Yeah.
I would just ask those of you listening today to use the TWiT code, just for old time's sake. It doesn't really matter. We all love Squarespace, and there's a good reason for it. If you go to squarespace.com, you will see it's hard to describe. It's not web hosting exactly, although it is web hosting, and it's not software to do a blog exactly, although you can do a blog with it. What it really is the secret behind exceptional websites. It's a way to design and maintain and run a website that never has to worry about the dig effect, because they're virtual private server technology that makes sure you have enough bandwidth whenever you need it. You never have. It does work, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've had a couple of my blog stories on there on Dig, and it handles it no problem.
No problem. It's beautiful. Tony just flips a switch. He goes down to the basement. He says, "Oh, flip the Kevin switch," and it has
Big red button.
Big red button. Dig. Great social integration with Twitter and Facebook and all the social sites. An iPhone app that is the best blogging app ever. Plus, you can import and export your comments and blog posts from movable type, WordPress, TypePad, and Blogger. So you're never stuck at Squarespace. Incredible statistics, beautiful templates. The best thing to do if you want to know what you can do with Squarespace is go to the examples section of the website and look. There's Clayton's blog. I mean, there's just so many great sites. Sword and Laser's on here too,
Sword
isn't
and
it?
Laser's there.
Yep. Just beautiful sites. And, they don't look like, when you see a WordPress site, you go, oh, that's a WordPress site. When you see a Drupal site, oh, you go, oh, that's a Drupal site. I defy you to look at any of these sites and say, oh, that's a Squarespace site. They all are unique. They're all beautiful. If you know CSS, of course, there's no limit to what you can do, but you don't have to. You can just drag and drop the templates to make gorgeous, gorgeous stuff.
Did you see the new stuff coming out? Have they shown you any of the sneak peek stuff, Leo? Squarespace folks?
Yes, Kevin. I'm sure they... No, what? Tell me. I haven't seen
it's going to be cool. It's really cool stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I can't really shoot. I probably shouldn't have said anything.
No, that's exciting. Because the beauty of this is if you're a Squarespace customer, you get it all automatically.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about Squarespace versus like WordPress and the others. You don't have to worry about like upgrades and hackers, like is your software is out of date. They just do all the upgrades for you.
They host it all, they upgrade it all, they keep it in perfect shape for you. Starts as low as $8 a month for the basic account. For the huge, massive package, $50 a month is it. And by the way, if you use the coupon code TWiT, you get 10% off for life. $30 a month for the business package. I mean, it's just a really, really fantastic.
Keep yourself healthy.
Keep yourself healthy.
So you can use that 10% off for a long time.
Oh, that's true. The longer you live, the more you save.
That's right.
I hadn't really thought about that. There's a reason to live forever. I'm getting 10% off Squarespace. I can't die.
Wine helps your heart, right?
So
Drink up.
Puy Fusé. Sarah's drinking. We are drinking a lovely Paso Robles. I mentioned that already. Yeah. I'm repeating myself.
Have another glass.
I'm sorry. I totally interrupted the money phase of that commercial.
No, we don't need money. Money? Who needs money?
Squarespace.com. You'll learn.
TWiT. You'll learn. You kids, you'll learn. Let's see. We've got a great cast of characters. Let me just run through it one more time in case you just tuned in. Of course, Tom Merritt, our newest employee. He's going to be starting his Tech News Today on Tuesday.
Should I keep the beard for Tech News Today?
I like the beard.
I like it.
Beard's cool.
Really? Everybody seems to like it.
Tom is such a baby face, even though he's like older than me.
Rugged.
It helps the lighting, too.
It helps the lighting.
Because I don't reflect as much.
Yeah, you're awfully white.
You don't get as shiny with a beard.
He's so white. He's so white.
I wish I could grow a beard.
You can't grow a beard? What do you mean? What are you, 18?
No, I had somebody it was like, you should grow sideburns, and so I've been trying to grow them for like 3 months, and nothing's there. So
really,
Who
that's
said
3 months
that?
growth?
Yeah. That's terrible.
Jim Louderback has been camping for the last week. Now, when I come back from camping,
can you tell I haven't shaved for 3 days? There's nothing there.
Sarah's got more of a beard than you do. I'm sorry, that's mean. Sarah Lane is also. This is a Screensavers reunion. This is how we treat each other. We did treat each other. We never had wine at Tech TV. We would just do the show straight.
Yeah.
Maybe Starbucks.
You never had wine.
Well, there was wine that was...
sometimes had tequila shots out of Brentano's trunk.
Oh,
what?
Sure.
I had tequila in my...
You started without me?
Yeah.
Because I know that after the show, we'd go to the Slow Club.
The Slow Club, yeah.
J&B.
Well, you know what the best part was on Fridays? After John Dvorak would do Silicon Spin, he would bring everybody over and start buying wine at the Slow Club. That was the best.
Oh, man.
And you guys were still doing Screensavers, so you were taking advantage of it.
We were stuck there, yeah.
By the time you guys got over, we were
we
caught up
because we would do the tequila shots to catch up with
exactly. Or the lemon drops. I think there was a lemon drop phase.
Drops.
Remember the lemon drops?
There was a lemon drop phase. I do remember.
Who drinks lemon drops? You guys are...
Kate Patello.
I
Sumi
might
Das
have
was a lemon drop.
You guys are going off on lemon drops.
I love lemon drops, and Slow Club had brilliant lemon drops. Come on, Kevin.
not a
What was
lemon
the
drop
hamburger with the applewood smoked bacon around the
Oh,
corner?
that was good.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Business, though.
And now, is the Slow Club still there, or are they gone?
Oh, yeah.
Slow
Club is
still
one
there.
of the few. Yeah, and J&B is still there, right?
J&B. I was just
That was the
Churro Hill Brewing Company, long gone.
J&B was the dive bar that Martin Sargent used to drag us to on Fridays.
And one of our cameramen knocked the window out of. I won't say his name.
Who?
It's got. Well, who do you think? It's got to be Simon, right? Simon
No, it wasn't
Cadiz?
Simon.
It wasn't
No.
Simon? Dave
I would
Chung?
have guessed Dave Chung.
Dave Chung.
Chung?
Yes,
It was,
Chung.
okay.
There you go.
Okay,
I can
fine,
name that
I'm saying
cameraman in 2 notes.
Oh, good times.
Good times. We were all a lot younger, a lot dumber.
Don't forget Sadie's Flying Elephant.
All
Remember
right.
Sadie's
Yeah.
popcorn? It's not
You guys,
Sadie's anymore.
you guys never asked me there. Was that in L.A. after you all went to G4?
No, it was up
No,
on
that's
Potrero.
Hey, I want to thank G4, because I have to say I've not often had many good things to say about G4, but we wanted to cover E3.
Oh, yeah. I want to know what happened with that because you were shut out, right?
Well, I thought we were. IDG said, we can't let you come with your streaming rig. We were going to go down for the streaming rig. They won't. You can't come down because G4 has an exclusive. And I thought, well, that's weird. Why would IDG give G4 an exclusive live streaming? So I buzzed. This was the power of the buzz. I buzzed on the Google Buzz. Can't do it. G4 called us, which was very nice of them. They said, oh, look, let's work something out. You can stream before we go live, and as long as you have some of our editors on, and you mentioned that after you go off, the coverage continues on G4. And I said, I'd be glad to do that. So we will be streaming live from E3. In fact, they moved their start time up, and they said, that's okay. You don't have to shut down early. So I think they start at 2 in the afternoon. We'll start at noon, and we'll go.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Who are you taking down there?
Schwood.
Brian's going.
I was looking for a gamer.
Schwood.
And then we're gonna cap it all off with Tech News Today at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be beauty.
Right.
It's going to be beauty.
Yeah.
So you'll be up here anchoring.
Yep.
Somebody's got to stay here. So Schwood and I will go down to E3.
I'll be here playing games.
Yeah.
While I'm waiting for them to.
So and Brian will be eating fire and playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
great.
Brian. He's the closest we could come to a gamer.
He's a gamer.
Oh, he's a gamer.
He's a gamer.
Oh, he's game and a gamer. And we thank, by the way, Ford is coming back to sponsor that, so I'm very happy
fantastic.
about that. So I got the Evo. I'm very excited about that. This is the new Sprint phone. Sprint is the latest to do an Android phone. I have to say, I haven't seen the iPhone yet. I know, of course, Kevin, you probably have one. But
New one?
The new one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do. But so I don't know, and I'm sure Apple will have much to say, but this is going to be pretty tough to beat Android at this point. Android has gone through several iterations in the 1 year that Apple has done an iPhone. They've got handsets from Motorola, from HTC, from Sony Ericsson, some great companies making great stuff, and they just get better and better. And this Evo, well, now, Sarah, you don't like the Evo so much.
So just to be fair, because I know that there are just the same way with Apple fanboy fan people. We can call them fan people. There are now Android.
I'm
fan
an Android
people, and
fanboy.
I'm well aware of them.
No,
So
I'm an
you're
Android.
You're
Yes,
an Android fan. Person,
love it.
Older
In
man.
person.
Did you say
grandpa.
Fandroid older man?
She said
Something
fan person
like-
and
just-
older man. How do you
Kevin-
say Leo like that?
Kevin. As far as the Evo goes, the face is beautiful, and at first I thought, wow, it's because the display is it's a lot bigger than the iPhones, and that's the first thing that you notice. But it's kind of like, I don't know, it feels too big in my hand. Yes, I have
That's what
small
she
hands,
said.
but- All right, come on.
Shoot me! I'm so sorry.
You're forcing me to drink more wine. Thanks for
Oh
that.
my God! I can't believe I,
I know.
did that. That
My
was
life
just
is-
Wow.
That's just awful.
That is what she said.
You're
That
gonna
is what she
have to go back
said.
on Dignation.
But
That
that
was
is actually.
That was so awful.
You don't get jokes like that on Dignation.
I'm sorry. It was just wide open.
I'm just
I
glad
know,
you
it's
said
fine.
it.
I actually like those kind of.
You were
jokes.
thinking it. Is that it? Yeah.
You know, Leo, something I've been thinking about a lot about the Evo. So why do you need internet access if you have an Evo? So hear me out. You live in a Wi-Fi or some sort of LTE environment or whatever it works on, WiMAX, and you buy this and you have unlimited data. Why do you need internet connection? Why do you need to pay somebody else for
You
bits
don't.
at home?
In fact, if I had 4G, I wouldn't, because for $30 a month, this tethers. Not even
Right.
tethering. It's
Up
a
to-
Wi-Fi access
right.
point.
Actually,
Yeah.
there's a way to get the tethering for free if you have 4G.
So
you
check
just set
this-
it. If you live in a 4G
Yeah.
area, you can set it to tether, or I'm sorry, you can set it to be a hotspot without having to pay extra.
Well, that's exactly it.
because and Sprint has said, look, we made a mistake. If you live in a 4G area, you can do
Well, you're
that.
paying
We're going to
$10 a
change
month.
that. We're going to change that in a while, and you're going to have to pay. But for now, you get it for free.
I just want to point out that the Nexus 1 with Android 2.2 does that for free.
But
on
it's
T-Mobile,
not
but
WiMAX.
It's T-Mobile.
The
right.
thing is, and my brother lives in Seattle, okay, or in Tacoma, and he is an LTE, he's a Clearwire customer
Yeah.
for his home internet access.
Why bother?
And he is looking at buying an Evo, and I said, John, the thing
That's
you
your
can
access
do is if you buy the Evo, you and your wife both get an Evo.
You know what the problem is? When he goes to work, then there's no more internet
it doesn't
access.
matter. Him and his wife, they both buy one. They're the only people in the
Right.
house.
So
then
Sarah,
it
I
become-
don't want to preempt Sarah's review of the TiVo, but of the Evo, TiVo of the Evo. But I agree with you. We're really seeing, and I think it's somewhat because of Google, a real change in how we think about our phones and how we use our phones. Now, Sarah, yours is purely from a user point of view, right?
definitely.
Yeah.
From a user
So,
point of view.
so what is it? Too big for you? What don't you like?
So I'm a happy iPhone user, so I'll preface anything I say with that, and that I guess does kind of make me a bit biased. But
I was a happy iPhone user for a long time.
It's heavy. It's heavy. The
Okay.
screen is it feels clunky big. It's beautiful to look at, but it feels clunky big, and the touch keyboard is so ugly. I mean, that thing is ugly. I don't know how anybody could say any different. I find it hard to type on. There's something about the Android interface that I've never quite loved. Something doesn't quite click with me, and I have no doubt that it'll get there, but it's not this phone.
Leo,
I hold it for a few seconds and I don't want to use it anymore. So
Right.
that's just the truth.
I've got a theory on this that I think is right, and that is that anyone that has used an iPhone before and then they go and move to Android, they notice that it's not quite as polished. So when they start playing with the menus, they start playing with the keyboard, they start playing with the way that the apps interact with each other, they look for the options. It's not quite from a usability standpoint. It's not quite there, and so you get this phone and you're all excited because it looks cool and you hear great things about the Android OS, and you're like, where's my Angry Birds? Like, I just want like the awesome apps that are on the iPhone.
Angry Birds, really?
Oh, have you played Angry Birds?
Yeah, I played on the iPad, but yeah,
it's amazing.
See, I think one of the advantages of an iPad is I have all those apps, and then I still have my phone, right?
There you go. Well,
is it just that the UI is better, or is it partly just because it's different?
It's what you're used to.
And you're used to the iPhone.
I think the Android UI is better, I'll be honest.
You know what's going to be really interesting is the guy who did the Danger and who went over to Palm
now went to Google.
He just went to Google.
Yes.
This is the guy who did the great, I consider the Danger, which is the Sidekick, to be one of the best phone OSs ever.
We gave it best of
CES at one point.
When it first came out.
1992.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was more like 2000, but thank you, Kevin, for that. But this guy...
It's all pixelated.
Let's put it this way, Kevin was 15 when we did it. It was the best
he could do at the time, Kevin. And he's now going to Google, hopefully, to do a good job with these Android things.
I want to see what he's going to do with Android. Yeah,
so do I.
What's his name? Do we know his name?
He was at Palm. He's the guy who did the recent Palm OS.
Yeah.
Apple's got Johnny Ive. That's all they need.
Yeah, Johnny Ive.
That guy is he's hardcore.
Yeah.
He does do a good UI.
Man knows. It's funny. Even the story on the internet doesn't say his name. It just says the man who did WebOS.
Nobody in the chat.
No, I got to hear.
Nobody knows his name. Why. Matthias Duarte. Nobody wants to say his name. Matthias Duarte. He went to Google.
He went to Google just this past week.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think Google, frankly, is where it's happening right now. This is where... Now, I haven't seen the iPhone, the next iPhone, and I bet you I'm going to buy one. I bet you I'll love it. This is just good news for everybody. It makes Apple work harder. It makes Google work harder. But I think Google has an advantage because it's the same advantage Microsoft had over Apple. Multiple handsets and a faster iteration of hardware and software, right? That makes a big difference.
It's almost like we're seeing 1990 played out again with Mac and the Windows, or 1984 or whatever.
Well, it comes down... Did you read Virginia Heffernan's article in last Sunday's New York Times where she said apps are the suburbia of the internet? She said the free and open World Wide Web is essentially like downtown, where anything goes. There's ads, there's scummy people.
Chinatown.
It's dangerous. It's Chinatown, Jake.
Forget it.
And she said, but apps have become the suburbia, the place that you go.
It's the strip mall.
It's a little nicer. It's a little cleaner. There's, and so... But it has this same problem where if you have everybody leaving the city goes to hell. You're stuck with these apps, and I think this is the problem. I think we're seeing a fight now between open and closed. Open, it's messy, it's dirty, it's got little issues with UI, but closed is dangerous in the long run. That's what I would submit.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see a good parallel there of Apple's App Store and Android's App Store, for that matter, being like the strip mall, where you get, individualized,
you get porn,
sanitized choices,
right?
that are very easy to get on and off the freeway.
Yes. But Apple's especially, not so much Android.
But you're not going to be able to find the chalk that gets rid of the ants or the weird, ethnic food or any of the cool stuff there.
Why does everyone keep mentioning porn? Like, who really wants to watch porn on their cell phone? Like, do people really
show of
do
hands
that?
in the chat room?
Yeah. No one's going to admit it, but I'm sure they're out there.
On their cell phone?
Yeah, why not? You know what? Best screen available. If you have the urge and the only screen you got is that screen, it's your best screen available.
I'm with Kevin. I mean, I'm on my phone when I'm on the go and I'm not.
No, that's actually a good point. I don't know what Steve is the one who keeps bringing it up, right?
I mean, I like porn, but not enough to watch it and upset people on Muni next to me.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I don't think it's
filter.
It's not porn. When Steve talks about porn, I think he's talking about those silly, like the jiggle app that makes people's body parts jiggle and stuff like that. You're right. There's not. I mean, porn on the iPhone's a joke. At least that's been my experience. But what is this?
There's some serious work going on the iPhone.
It's very small. World. I can't quite make it out. It looks like two people are doing something, but I don't know what.
Oh, wait. I'm at an open source code check. This isn't porn at all.
This isn't porn? No,
those are pancakes.
I think you're right, Kevin. That is kind of a red herring.
Yes.
However, that's the point, though. It's that, and maybe that's what offends Steve, is that anything goes. And he likes the idea of making a nice. It's a boutique versus a bodega.
It's a gated community.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. Now, I thought it was a little bit of a stretched analogy, but I think it does make a good point. And I think she says at the end, we may regret this flight to the suburbs.
I feel in my gut, and I haven't thought out the logic to justify this yet, but I feel like that's a little bit of an overreaction. I don't think I think that's stretching the metaphor a little too far, because I think
it's not mutually exclusive.
The open source applications that we have will continue, and they'll continue to get good. It's just that on the phone, we may be missing out on the opportunities that we would have had.
So you don't fear that apps will kill open?
No, I don't think so. I think open is too much of a force of just how people use the internet. It may dampen it, but it won't kill it.
Well, do you want a Nintendo 64 or do you want a full-fledged PC, right, as the model for what you do on your phone? I mean, the great thing about the Nintendo 64 was everything just worked, but everything was controlled by Nintendo.
Nintendo was the first company to say, we're not going to let the junk games on that killed Atari.
Exactly. And it did well, but now we've got the Xbox, you got gaming on the PC.
Well, but the Xbox and PS3 still have that Nintendo model where we vet every game.
Yep. And I think people do want that for their phone, yeah.
The problem is that I think there's a hybrid here. I mean, Apple could easily say, okay, listen, if you want to be in the App Store, if you want to get revenue through Apple, you have to go through the approval process, right? If you don't, you can still install your apps on people's phones, but you have to, have the installation process happen via the web. Like, you'd click on it just like you would download and install any other application.
Yeah. Well, the trouble ends up being for Apple, where they do things like they're doing with HTML5 and Flash. And whereas we saw this week a couple of big broadcast networks saying, screw you, Apple, you're not going to let Flash on your device, so what? We're going to keep using Flash. We're not going to HTML5.
That might be a mistake.
That's a mistake for Apple.
It's a mistake for the companies.
I think it's a mistake for Apple.
I think it's a mistake for the companies.
I think you're both right.
I do think we're both right.
No, I think it's a mistake on both parts.
It's crazy. If you've got 85 million units out there, which you do, of iPod Touches and iPhones, and they can't play, who is it, NBC's content?
Is it NBC? I forget the other network.
If they can't, now Hulu says they're going to do an iPad app.
And charge you for it. Probably.
I think that I'll tell you what's going on. Jeff Jarvis says this all the time, that what's happening is it's the last gasp of these content companies, like the New York Times, like Rupert Murdoch, who said, my God, our business model's going away. The open web and the link economy is destroying our model, because anybody can search Google for a news story and they can find it in 800 places, and they're going to get it from the free places. We're hoping that people will pay for apps on the iPad and have that gated community and keep us alive. And I think it's a last gasp.
I think people do want the gated community on their phone, the way they want that.
But they want the
Nintendo
open net on their computer.
I don't know about the tablet, because they want the open net on their computer. I'm not sure where.
I'm putting my money. I'll tell you what. I'm putting my energies and time. I was starting to learn iPad development, and I said, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm going to learn Android development, and I believe that and we'll see this at Computex next week.
Yeah,
we're going to see a dozen, if not more.
36.
36?
That's what I heard.
36. 3 dozen pads, iPad clones running Android.
Android tablets. Yeah, and well, look at what happened this past week when, Dell finally came up with a great name for their new 5-inch tablet.
What is it?
The Streak. Oh, yes, they call it the Streak.
Yeah, I was going to say, did they get
Such a
Ray,
bad
whatever?
name.
It was not a very good name, but it is a really cool tablet. 5 inches, fits in your pocket. A friend of mine works on it. I've been playing with
That's
it.
half as big as an iPad.
It's 5 inches, but it's bigger than an iPhone screen. It's a phone. You can make calls on it. And so it's a really interesting...
What does a tablet have to have to make it good? It has to have
Great battery life.
Great battery life.
Which the
That's what you're
iPad
not gonna
has.
get.
It's got to have a nice screen, a really good-looking
Has the
screen.
best battery life ever.
It's 10 hours is amazing, isn't it?
That's why I
It
worry
does
about
take a
Android
while to
tablets.
charge too.
It
That
always
has
on internet access, yes? Do we agree that's a necessity? Does it have to have apps? Yes.
Does it have to have cell phone connectivity, voice connectivity?
No. I'd say no.
I hate talking
camera?
on the phone.
Camera? Does
I
it
think
have
it
to have a
should.
camera?
I think it should have a camera.
It should.
I think I do miss that with the iPad sometimes.
Me too.
Does it have to have multi-touch? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Has to have touch. Good touch. That's what's been missing, by the way. That's what was missing on all those Windows 7.
Yeah, right, totally. Well, the problem with
Windows
all the
tablets.
Windows tablets is you had to use a special
Stylus.
pen with
Crazy.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Well, it's
I
a
got one
desktop
right here.
operating system.
Yes.
Right.
So it has to be a mobile operating system, touch-based. It has to have...
Does it have to connect to a PC? Does it have to
shouldn't.
allow
It
you
shouldn't
to
have
hook
to.
up?
Shouldn't.
No, but should it be able to
Well,
so that
yeah.
you can transfer things easily from your computer to your pad?
Yeah.
You know,
Kevin doesn't
you
think
can,
so.
You can. I think the way that Apple does it is sufficient. I made a spreadsheet in numbers of the We Rule crops and buildings, and did a calculation.
Can you
based,
believe they nerfed golden cauliflower, by the way?
Oh man, that should have been the top story. I buried the lead. What the hell is going on? They killed the magic cauliflower. You have to now be level 40 to get it. But so I had to make a spreadsheet, and then I moved it over very easily through iTunes over to here so that I know what buildings to build. And by the way, Tom, I think we were mistaken on the dragons.
Really?
Oh, no, I think clearly the
You did the
tailor
math?
shop. I did the math.
The tailor shop, really?
Yeah, the tailor shop. Let me show you the numbers.
That's the best bang for the buck.
Well, it's only
It requires more
1,500.
maintenance. That's the thing.
8 hours.
Yeah.
The dragons,
Wait,
2 days.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
I'm still playing SimCity, Sarah. I have no idea what they're talking about either.
Golden cauliflower?
You know,
It's a
magic
golden
color. We're talking about the only game in town. We Rule for the iPad. It's
Really
frankly,
general. Like, what the heck are they
this
talking
is
about?
Farmville BS?
yeah, it's the
yeah,
Farmville
yeah,
clone.
totally.
So Tom, just look here. The tailor shop, okay, in terms of gold per hour, 28, and XP per hour, it's the highest, 11 XP per hour, and it's only 1,500. The next best is the Magic Emporium, was 55,000 coins. It seems to me...
Can you guys get a room or something?
I'm saying it in the wrong voice. It seems to me that if you carefully calculate the parameters of the purchase, that you'd be much better off.
But by the way, the Orange Grove, I think, is a sleeper.
Yeah?
Well,
I haven't
every-
planted one of the orange
Oh,
groves.
plant many.
Yeah.
Every 6 hours.
Where were we?
But no, I think gaming, well, you know, Kevin, you're into it. Admit it. Don't be shy.
Into gaming?
We rule.
Casual gaming. Yeah, I like Rerule. I'm like level 20 something.
Yeah.
You
What-
also play Farmville, though, so...
Do you play
Not
Farmville
anymore.
still? No, We Rule has replaced it.
Oh, you stopped playing Farmville.
What do you play on Facebook? What's the game on Facebook?
Not really anything anymore. I'm mostly iPad stuff now.
Me too.
I'm going home to play Dead Red Redemption after
That
this,
is an
by the way.
awesome
great game.
freaking
Just so
game.
you know. I-
Bought that.
The Western is back.
Yeah, isn't that
story.
great?
The story
Yeah.
is
It's a story.
incredible. Yeah.
It's a great story.
All right, we're going to continue with this Gamer Fest. So one show we don't do is a gaming show. You guys just launched a new gaming show. I'm very excited.
We did the game show.
Yeah, and Penn Jillette.
Well, and Penn's pretty wild.
How did you get Penn Jillette? Come on, you pay him millions of dollars?
You know, it's interesting. Jay Adelson had a conversation with someone who knew him, and he was looking for a home.
That's nice. And then you fire
nice.
him. And
I do not make. He's my. He's still.
That's generous.
Wait, no, he's the chairman of my board.
Oh,
He's
he
the
is?
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
He's the chairman of whose board?
Revision 3.
Oh, so he's still around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you fired him at Dig.
Don't point at me.
What
All
were
I'm
you
saying
I
is
was typing.
All I'm saying is you asked about Penn.
We all love Jay. He's a wonderful guy, and
And,
so that's cool. So he made.
so Jay,
he's,
yeah,
he's
Jay's
got friends with Penn Jillette,
doing what a
and now
chairman of a
it's
board
called,
should
it's called
be doing.
Penn.
It's called Penpoint.
Penpoint.
And you actually have to check out the most recent one because I did not know this, but apparently chimpanzees are great when they're people who are bigger than they are. But when you get people who are their size or smaller, they fight and they want to kill them. And apparently,
So they're bullies.
Penn had a party where he invited a chimp and a little person.
Nobody would ever invite a chimp to a party. That's crazy
Well, Penn did.
talk.
So you have to check out what happened. While
Chimp
watching the show.
attack.
Yeah, chimp attack.
So these are little shorties, so you can watch them
A couple minutes.
on your
4
phone
times.
or whatever. Yeah.
This is
4
similar-
times a week.
This is similar to what Penn says, right?
With more direction, better production, and I hope a more interesting, sustainability to it.
did beep. There it is right there.
So he's got a studio?
That's his house. We went and built a studio for him at his
Oh,
house.
man, I'm so jealous.
Well, it was his radio studio.
And
He used to do a radio show?
Did? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did an hour on Free
XM
FM
or something?
Free
Oh,
FM.
Free FM.
It was great. It was a great show.
So he's just a guy who likes doing media, and so he's just like, okay, I'll do that.
He's a guy with a point of view. Many of
He
them.
definitely has a point of view. There's no question
He's
about
very
it.
smart. Wicked smart.
This is great. He's got 2 cameras set up. One of them he's holding.
Well, isn't that cool? We got the flip cam, and we've been working with him on that. We've got 2 fixed cameras and a flip cam. We edit
He's
it
also
together.
switching his own stuff.
No, we're switching it, and we get ISOs of all of them and edit.
So you
them.
don't have to go to his house.
No, he sends us all 3 ISOs, and we edit them up.
many people said no.
There's the dwarf. All right.
And those
Little
are,
person. I'm
Little
sorry.
person.
Consulting,
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, come back with more BS in just a bit. It has descended to that, has it not? Jim Louderback is here. Kevin Rose, the lovely and talented Sarah Lane, our newest employee, and our oldest, newest employee.
That's right.
Mr. Tom Merritt. Good to have you all.
Is there hazing that goes on
I
when
think
you?
Oh, yeah.
Tom and I are like the same age, aren't we? You're not old. Leo's the old.
Tom's much older than you, Sarah. That's very nice of you to say he's the same age, but Tom's much older than you.
I'm like twice your age.
He's twice your age.
Oh,
71.
come on.
No, Tom's
Well.
closer to my age than your age. Wait a minute, that's not right.
You might be right.
No, you're
I
right
don't
in
think
between. You're right
What
in
is
the
this?
middle.
The Price is Right?
I guess he weighs 162 pounds.
way more than that.
Okay. So I want to talk about GoToMeeting, if you don't mind. GoToMeeting from the friends at Citrix, those great folks who do Go to My PC, Go to Assist. Of course, they do the enterprise remote access. GoToMeeting, the design of GoToMeeting is to save you money, to cut costs, to improve processes, to work more efficiently in your business. Every dollar you save helps the bottom line, and GoToMeeting will save you money by cutting travel costs, by improving communication, helping you work smarter, more efficiently. We use it all the time. We have multiple accounts now because sometimes we'll have 2 or 3 GoToMeetings going on at the same time. If you're looking for a web conferencing tool for your business, save money. $49 a month for GoToMeeting. They've got an iPad application that is just to die for. For product reviews, for sales presentations, training sessions, collaborations. Great if you're pitching clients because they don't have to have anything installed ahead of time. You just say, go to GoToMeeting. I'm going to show you this. 30 seconds later, they're seeing your desktop on their screen. You can show them the slides, the spreadsheets, the PowerPoint, whatever it is you need to talk about. Turn that boring conference call into something visual, something real. Try it right now for free for 30 days. Go to gotomeeting.com/twit. I always say go-to-meeting. It sounds like I'm stuttering. And I think people are just going to go to meeting.com. Don't. No, it's visit gotomeeting.com. How about that's better, isn't it?
Stop by.
Attend. Stop by.
Type in your address bar.
www. See, if you put the www.
I should do that. It says that on the lower third.
Then you'd break up the go-to and the go-to.
Go to www.gotomeeting.com/twit. I'm out of breath.
It's like 1999 all over again.
Go to http://www.gotomeeting.com/twit.
.com.
.com. Did we say .com? No.
Probably not.
I hope not.
Way in the 90s,
Yeah.
I heard people say that.
.com.
It was even
Before-
uncool then.
.org.
Yeah.
I remember on the site trying to convince them not to put http:// in the lower
CGs.
third.
Yeah, right. And in the teleprompter, right?
In the teleprompter. And then eventually we got to the point where I was trying to tell the producers not to put www into the URLs on the screensavers. GoToMeeting.com. See, it's easy. GoToMeeting.com/twit. It's so much easier to say that. Mm-hmm. Try it today. You'll love it. What are you laughing at?
Kevin's doing strange
Is
things.
Kevin
to the
doing
camera.
something bizarre?
What are you? I was
rabble
I like
rouser.
that.
Was he flipping me off? Was he pinching my head?
No.
It looked like he was like trying to swat a very large bug.
Have another, what is that, blue?
Blue, little Johnny.
But it's
Walker
not blue in color. It's just blue in spirit.
Yes.
Am I blue?
Label.
Label. Mike Arrington and Carol Bartz. That was fun.
Oh, that was awesome.
Were you there for that, Sarah Lane, at Disrupt?
I was, and it's funny because my initial reaction is different than the way I feel about it now. Because at the time, you're at a conference, and the conferences, as interesting as they are, they go for a few hours, and you're talking to a lot of VCs, and sometimes I find it like I have to, after a few hours, I'm hungry for lunch, and maybe I'm sort of struggling to keep paying attention to everything that's being said.
So you were drowsy and cranky.
So that interview was like, Mike started it out with "How the F are ya?" to her, and everyone went, "Ah!" We all woke up, and so everybody was kind of listening to the interview.
I kind of like that. I thought that's kind of cool.
Well, right. I mean, it was
Jane Rosen.
Sort of got the sense that they were
buddies.
Sort of a friendly thing, like we at TechCrunch have been hard on you, and
right.
but here you are, and you came willingly and everything. But then as it went on, it was almost as if, I don't know, I guess it was almost as if she had something to prove. And when she told him to, we know what she said. There was lots of laughter and lots of applause in the audience, and everyone thought it was so funny. And the interview kind of wrapped up soon after that. But then you think about it, and it's like, it really comes down to it, sort of the shock value aside. This is the CEO of a very large company and the true spokesperson of that company. And here you have a technology, journalist asking you questions, and that's your answer. I mean, that's a really sort of a weird image to project, don't you think?
Well, she, in fact, he starts to question her about the direction of Yahoo, and she says, "How big is your company, Mike?"
Right. I mean, it's sort of, again, it's like it was funny in the moment, but when you think about it, you go, I mean, how can that's not only is that not an answer, but I mean that's a very strange answer. I mean, that can't be your answer if someone asks you a question at a technology conference that you came to willingly.
But she's famous for her kind of bawdy mouth, right?
Maybe so, but okay, then answer it that way, and then provide some numbers and facts.
Here we go. Here's the audio from TechCrunch.
You are involved in a very tiny company.
Very tiny.
And it probably takes a long time to even convince yourself what the hell to do.
I think this is in good fun.
Does she answer the question?
Yes, she does. She answers. Listen. By the way, that cackling, Robert Scoble.
Oh my God! Somebody give him a mute button and keep it muted.
Well, this is a video from the audience. I don't know if there's an official video. This is from the audience, and the guy, unfortunately, sitting right next to Scoble.
That the fine people of Yahoo are supposed to do in this short time. So, off.
I took that in good fun. I don't know. How did Mike take it when she laid that on him?
Like I said, the interview ended soon after that. They had gone over, so it wasn't like he was like, "Oh, I want to end the interview because I'm mad" or anything. I think it was probably jarring. I mean, it was kind of just a jarring thing in general.
She's famous for that.
I
kind
have no idea
of like
if
it.
he thought it was funny or not.
I kind of like it. She's got a point. I mean, he's doing his job.
It's kind of like going on Stephen Colbert, right? I mean, when you go on there, you shouldn't expect to have a very straight-ahead, forward, Bill Moyers type conversation. You're going to have fun. When you go talk to Michael Arrington, you should expect to have a TechCrunch-like conversation. I mean, that seems to be in the style
I've told Mike Arrington to screw off.
Have you?
Yes.
Where's that keyboard cat when you need him?
I understand her point of view, but
that was Oliver Digg. That was huge.
yeah, I know.
Well, but isn't this just distracting from Yahoo's performance, as it were?
Well, see, that is the fundamental question.
Right?
Is what is she doing to turn around Yahoo?
Yeah, did she answer that question?
No, but she said it's a big boat, and it's going to take us a while to turn it around. One of the things they did this week was they purchased Associated Content.
Right.
Which I don't think was a very smart thing to do. I mean, Yahoo is all about more premium level content. I mean, look, they've got great content that people go there, and now they're doing this bottom of the barrel scraping. I'm not sure that's the right thing.
It might be good for the search engine.
But they
And
are
I could
a search
see why
engine.
they would.
But doesn't
Right? They
who
are
does
a search engine.
Microsoft
That's what I
does a
mean.
search engine.
And so if you own, I mean, the way that buying Flickr has actually been really good for Yahoo's image search. Yahoo's image search
Oh, that's interesting.
is actually really good because they own Flickr.
Well, wait a minute, doesn't Microsoft do it now? So does it
Well,
matter?
and yeah, but it's a partnership, right? So Yahoo can provide some access maybe to associated content and maybe lift some of that stuff. It's a long shot, I'll grant you. But I could
Yahoo
see that
is
being
in the
some of the
content
reasoning.
business, though. That's what
But
Yahoo
they are a
does
premium
now.
Are they,
content
though?
place.
Yes,
they are.
they're the biggest
They
content.
keep going back and forth
No,
on
they
how
are.
far they want to be in that.
They have people writing sports. They have they're producing shows.
You know,
they are doing
OMG,
news.
we talked about this a few months ago. Do you know what OMG is? OMG is the #1, forget TMZ. Sarah, do you ever go to this site, OMG?
Is it OMG Pop?
OMG.yahoo.com. This is the #1 celebrity site far and away.
More than Pop Sugar?
Yes.
Because Pop Sugar is really popular.
Oh my
This is it. I've never even heard of this one, but apparently,
Yeah,
see, this is the
I've heard
thing.
of
Real
it.
people have heard of it, not geeks. This is for real people. Hot topics, couples, pets, fashion faux pas, and baby
I mean,
bumps.
real people who want to read about Hulk Hogan and Britney Spears, apparently. So,
Hulk
you know.
Hogan's breakfast brawl.
I mean, does that interest you?
No.
My dinner.
Chris
with
O'Donnell, Dreamy Dad? I don't think so. I mean, it's just it's a waste of time.
By the way, Dennis Hopper.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah. Great man.
Gary Coleman.
And Art Linkletter.
Sad.
It goes in threes, doesn't it? Do you think when Art passed on, he really thought, I'm going with Dennis and Gary to the pearly gates?
Kids say the darndest things.
Yeah, they do
I
the darndest
have to say, I
things, too.
interviewed Art Linkletter about 15 years ago on radio. He was still surfing in his 80s in Hawaii. One of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. Just a really class guy. Dennis Hopper, I don't know. A little weird.
Weird but cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool, as long as you were more than 50 feet from him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have wanted to spend a lot of time with him.
We were going to have Kara Swisher on today, but she's awfully busy with this thing called D. And man, do they have a lineup for D. It's pretty exciting, including Ballmer. Steve Jobs is going back, I think, isn't he?
He'll be there. Jobs will be there.
Speaking or just
Speaking on stage.
Are they going to do the Jobs Gates thing that they did? That was so
I'm
cool.
not sure if Gates is going to be there.
Wasn't that a great interview? Speaking of which, you're doing a great job with those Dig interviews you do. You get some big
dialogue
names.
ones. Those are fun.
Yeah, I love those.
We just had Clinton on recently.
How come you aren't doing all of those, though? Aren't you the guy?
Oh gosh, dude, I don't want to travel anymore. I'm tired of flying around. There's just too much going on at the office right now.
We're working to clone Kevin. We need 4 of them.
There's more Kevins. So we were talking about Sex and the City. You, as the only person who saw it, Sarah Lane.
Why are we talking about it?
Because remember that Carrie Bradshaw was always a Mac user?
Oh, yeah. So what's funny about the movie is that they've got this big HP integration. And in fact,
HP.
And that's actually why I was able to go to Premiere, because it was an HP event, and which was very nice of them. I went with Natalie Del Conte, who got me a ticket. She lives here in New York, so we had a little girl date. It was a lot of fun. But what we noticed right away in the movie was, well, that's a MacBook. That's literally a MacBook. I mean, they covered up the Apple logo, but it's a MacBook. It's a new MacBook, and that and they're using iPhones. The other girls, well, they're in the desert and everything, and it's like, I don't know if there was an HP in that movie, but if it was very cleverly hidden.
Yeah.
So,
Well, here she is doing an HP ad. So you're saying that there was never an HP. There were still all the Mac laptops there.
That's correct. Well, hers. The other women don't really use laptops in the show historically.
She's writing the blog, is she?
Right.
Yeah.
Her sort of her dialogue.
Dear Diary, Mr. Big and I are having another fight.
Later that day, Charlotte got to thinking. But that HP ad was shown before the movie in the theater, and that's the only HP I ever saw. So a little confusing, and I wasn't the only one who kind of murmured about that. But no, Carrie is not an HP user.
She still uses a Mac.
Unless And unless it's, the sort of thing where they go, okay, well, like in the old days, if we cover the Apple logo, then no one will know that that's a MacBook. I don't know who they're fooling.
I got to tell you, this whole ad is stupid because it's supposed to be Carrie, but they never show her head. It's obviously not Carrie.
Didn't have to pay her as much.
Which is, yeah, I guess that's true, because it's not like Sarah Jessica Parker couldn't rock that outfit. I mean, it looks like her, but it
totally looks like her, but why would you cut her head off the whole commercial? It's staring at her belly button. And by the way, is this the HP slate? What is that? Jim, is that the slate? They never denied that they were going to, the rumor was they weren't going to make the slate.
Well, they kicked Windows out, right?
No, but it was pure rumor. But it's pure rumor. No, the HP people said, no, we never said that. So we don't even know what they're going to do.
I think HP, if I remember right, has said, yes, we are going to do a WebOS tablet, but they haven't confirmed that they are not going to do a Windows slate. It's all been like off-the-record comments. So sounds like no. They're going to do a Windows tablet later. Well, they're going to do the WebOS first.
There's a marketing issue at HP now that David Roman is gone. So they went through some really interesting marketing issues. So David Roman is the guy from Apple who went over to HP in the personal systems group, did the whole campaign, the computer is personal again, and really helped drive HP from being this engineering-driven company to a marketing-driven company. They brought in a new, and this is interesting, they brought in a new CMO for HP from Walt Disney. And I was just talking to somebody who had been working with that person at Disney and said that he was not a very smart person or a very good marketer. Good. And so they bring in this stuffed shirt from Disney to run all marketing for HP. This is what I've been told. And they didn't put Roman in there. David Roman's the guy who did all this great thing for PSG. So what does he do? He goes to Lenovo. And he's now running marketing for Lenovo.
Interesting.
So HP, who knows what's going on there with this new guy from Disney. I guess, it's going to be the Seven Dwarfs and HP trying to sell computers. David Roman's over at Lenovo. And now we see changes happening at Lenovo.
Well, remember they did show the U1, which I really liked at CES.
We did a nice piece on it. Yeah. It's a cool product.
It was a
cool product.
A laptop that had a detachable screen that was running a weird Linux version of the OS. Now they're saying that's going to be Android. That's the newest.
And they've delayed the U1, is that right?
Or they've killed it or something.
Yeah.
The Skylight SmartBook and the U1 Hybrid Tablet.
Because I liked the U1. I got to shoot that for CNET, too.
Although the problem is it's going to be expensive.
It's expensive.
Right? They were saying over $1,000.
Yep.
You can get an iPad for, a couple $100.
$500.
Well, on Craigslist.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
I should go out and get one.
You can get an iPad for $500. You can get a computer for, go buy a Toshiba notebook for $400, $500.
Apple, of course, started selling the iPad internationally, and big lines, lots of interest. Australia, the UK, Japan apparently eating it up, which kind of surprises me because Japan is famous for very small, very compact notebooks. They don't have a lot of computers. They like their smartphones. Maybe the iPad is the Japanese computer.
Well, there's just not a lot that's exciting in Japanese technology right now. Yeah. And I think the iPhone is kind of taking away some of the luster from Sony and some of the other companies there, the cool little stuff they used to build.
They think that now that it's gone worldwide, that it will outsell Mac laptops,
it's amazing.
Mac platforms, actually, desktops and laptops.
I'm gonna win my bet.
Do you think it's cannibalizing Mac laptops?
I don't, and the analysts that I've read say that it doesn't. And this time, I agree with them. I don't think that you buy a tablet instead of a Mac. You might buy it instead of a netbook or something like that.
In
but
the long run,
I don't think you buy it instead of a Mac.
It helps all of Apple, I think, in the long run. The question is, Apple's making so much money on phones and pads. Does it have the interest in the desktop that it might have had 5 years ago? I bet not.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Is desktop interest is going way down. Laptop interest, we'll see. Maybe as we get these 36 or 32 Android tablets at Computex and HP comes out with their WebOS tablets, we'll start to see people less interested in laptops. The problem is, with all these tablets so far, you have to have a computer to operate them. I want to buy my mom, who's got no internet connectivity
really stupid.
and nothing.
So stupid.
But she has Wi-Fi where she lives. It's available.
She'd be perfect for
I would
this.
love to buy her an iPad and just say, hey, here's something where you don't have to know anything to use it. And I'd set it up to configure it for her Wi-Fi, but she has to have a computer.
You know what you do? I had a call on the radio show asked the same thing. She said, I'm 80 years old. I want an iPad. I don't want a computer. I don't have a computer. You have Apple activated, and then you never need to do it again.
Can you?
So you're at the Apple Store. You have, because, when you first turn on the iPad, in fact, they were saying this in Japan, all these people, as we're getting out of the store and opening up their box to say, my iPad, and then it says, hook up to iTunes.
But to get an iTunes account, you're saying you do that at the store?
Yeah, you'd have them set up an iTunes account on the laptop
and then
at the store, and then walk out the door. You need never connect it again, because you could buy music, you can buy apps. You don't need to connect it again unless you want to print.
Yeah, once you get it set up, you're right. Okay, maybe that's the key. Maybe that's the solution then.
Kindle. Kindle is not dead yet.
I love my Kindle.
My wife loves her Kindle. Anybody else here? I've used the iPad. I love
my Kindle
instead.
application that I use on my iPad.
That's what I use on the iPad. Yeah. Well, Sarah?
Yeah, it's better on the iPad than it is on the actual Kindle.
Until you take it outside and try to read it around the pool like I did all weekend.
I don't know, man.
It is a little harder by the pool.
I hold that Kindle, and it does not feel good. I hate the buttons, the whole, sorry.
The actual Kindle's lighter.
Kindle
it's
app
much
is
lighter.
Fine.
I have I have a really small Kindle, and it works.
Because the iPad is what, 20 pounds? I mean, it's not that heavy.
Well, that's what cracks me up, because people say, oh, the iPad, what is it, £1.5 pounds? Oh, it's so much heavier than the Kindle.
It wears on you, though.
But I said, well, how heavy is a book, for crying out loud?
Hardback, but a paperback's
the iPad is like too heavy to carry around.
He's very weak.
Not to carry around,
do some
to
arm
sit
curls
and
here,
hold
Tom.
for a long time.
He's very weak.
It starts. Oh, none of you have read it for that long.
No, I have. You know what I do?
You have to put it on your legs.
I rest it on my pillow.
Yeah. You have to do something
sideways.
like that.
I read sideways. It's not so bad. Kevin, iPad or Kindle?
It's funny. My dad has a Kindle, and we went fishing a couple weeks ago, and I had my iPad, and I showed it to him, and he played with it, and he's like, that does news as well? And I'm like, yeah. I launched the USA Today app for him, and he's like, I want one. I'm getting rid of my Kindle. I think everyone's going to get rid of their Kindles and go iPad. Of course, I'm iPad, but I'm also a fanboy.
Interesting. Because, August, we're supposed to see a new Kindle. Thinner, lighter, maybe
color?
Not color, not touch, but faster.
So I was at SID this week. I spoke to the TV30. It's the display, the guys who do all the display stuff. So, and they were rolling out all the different display technology. They had the super thin HD TVs.
Is E-Ink there too?
E-Ink was there, and they were showing a color version of the E-Ink. And a bunch of other companies were showing similar e-paper in color. Now, it still looks washed out. Doesn't look great. They do
slow page turn.
Yeah, but color's there. I mean, and I asked the guys at E-Ink. I said, so why does Amazon say they're not going to do a color Kindle for a while? And he's like, you have to ask Amazon. But it looked all right.
Yeah, the thing is with the iPad is that if you really do want to use it to read books, you have to install the Amazon application.
Yeah.
Because iBooks has absolutely nothing.
It's crappy.
Yeah, it's really crappy.
But I kind of like it that I can buy.
Book, it's great.
I buy stuff on the Kindle, read it sometimes on the Kindle, read it sometimes on the iPad. They sync up.
Yeah.
Sometimes on my iPhone. I kind of like that.
So you want a little inside baseball though on the iPhone and the iTunes store for books. The guys who ran the podcasting group at Apple for a long time, Scott and Pete, are now on the iBook side.
Yep.
So
awesome.
It will probably get better.
Because
those guys are great.
But they got to make the deals. It's not how great those guys are. It's how great the publishers are. And you would think publishers would be so anxious to break Amazon's chokehold on their business.
There have been a couple of books that have been exclusive to the iPad. You couldn't get them on the Kindle. They were able to snake
I found a book that I wanted that I had to buy on the iPad. I couldn't buy it in the Kindle store.
Yeah.
But those are, I think, few and far between. Is there a Kindle for Android yet? I know that's in beta. Let me just check and see. Because I just love I think Amazon's sharp. All they have to do is make this Kindle play everywhere. Are they in it for do they need to sell Kindle hardware?
No. Well, I think Bezos did the right thing, which is to separate the Kindle store people from the Kindle hardware people and say, both of you go after it.
Oh, it's two divisions.
Yeah. And so that's why you see the apps everywhere, because the Kindle store people are like, we want it everywhere.
Sell books.
Hardware people have just got to catch up on their own. And so they're not totally out of it yet. But they're competing on their own.
We're going to take a break, come back, speaking of books and Amazon, and talk a little bit about Audible.com. Audible. Audible books are the best audiobooks. Really, they're the last audiobook place out there. I suppose somebody else is doing it, but Audible's just so head and shoulders above the rest. Yeah, you can still get cassettes probably somewhere. 75,000 books. It's really hard. When you get to the Audible bookstore, you want them all. That's why I have a platinum account. That's 2 books a month. And believe me, I listen to them. I'm just finishing up The Time Traveler's Wife. And I've got the Stieg Larsson trilogy on.
Is it good?
I haven't started it. It's my next book. He wrote, of course, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And then he followed that up. What was the next one that he came up with right after that? And then now the new one is out. The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. It's supposed to be wonderful. Can't wait to read those. So now I can't get you 3 books free, but I can get you your first 2 free. Go to audible.com/twit2, and you can get The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That's the first one. The Girl Who Played with Fire. That's the second one. And if you're not hooked, you can quit at any time. You get to keep those books. They're yours free forever. But I got to warn you, I have a feeling if you listen to the first 2, you're going to be listening to The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest.
Can I make a recommendation, Leo? For one?
Love it. I'd love it.
Audible, I just listened to Rework by Jason Fried.
Yes.
Unbelievably good book.
Yes.
Wow.
A must
New
listen
entrepreneurs looking to get started, amazing.
Jason and David Heinemeier Hansen were the founders of 37 Signals. David, of course, wrote Ruby on Rails for 37 Signals. And this is not their first book. We had them on at night, actually, just a little while ago, talking about this book. Rework, yep, very nice audiobook. You see the problem? Now I've got 4 books for you to listen to. It's nice when something's so great you just can't stop. If you have felt like reading has left you behind because your life is so busy, don't forget you've got lots of time to read in the car, when you're commuting, driving the kids around, doing housework. At the gym, I listen every day for an hour a day. That's a lot of reading. After a while, it builds up. You still can read. All those times when you can't hold a book, listen to audible.com. Plays on over 500 devices, including all the iPhone, iPad, iPod devices, the Zune, the Kindle even. Audible.com/twit2. Go there right now. Sign up for that platinum account. Get 2 books absolutely free. I'm so excited. I love it. It's funny. I get torn because when a book ends, it's sad, and Time Traveler's Wife is wonderful. That would actually might be a good one for Sword and Laser.
Yeah, we have that on our
It's a
short
little
list.
sci-fi-y.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
IO9 called it one of the best sci-fi books of the decade so far.
Really?
Or of the decade last decade.
You know what? It reminds me a little bit of Memento and these other books that play with memory and time. And Memento wasn't a book, it was a movie, but the idea of being a time traveler and how it affects your relationship is fascinating. I just love it. It's not, there's not science in it.
It's as science fiction-y as Kurt Vonnegut.
Yes. Sure. That's the whole point of Slaughterhouse-Five, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Unstuck in Time.
Yep. That's a good book.
Oh,
See,
I just finished The Foundation.
Oh,
they just put that out on Audible. I'm so excited.
Did you read the all the editions as well? There's the first 3, and then
it goes on forever.
Yeah, well, he wrote the 4th Foundation book.
Do they go downhill, Jim, or are they as good?
I think
the Foundation trilogy is just brilliant.
The 4th Foundation book is good. I think they start to go downhill, and then they had other people start to play in the Foundation universe, and those.
It's like Dune. It got to be like Dune.
Yeah, right, exactly. You can't. How many Dune books can you read? Even Dune went downhill even when Frank Herbert was writing them.
I just want to thank Audible. This just came out in April. Foundation is the first time it's been on audio, and so another one where Audible's just reached out and made these books happen. Did you listen to it or did you read it, Kevin?
No, I read it, but I'm going to listen to the next one.
Scott Brick reads them. He's one of their better readers. I love him. Yeah, they've got Foundation, Empire, Second Foundation. That's the big 3.
Yeah, yep. Foundation, Empire, Second Foundation.
Yeah. The Galactic Empire. Harry Sheldon. Psychohistory.
Psychohistorian. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very cool
stuff.
stuff.
Great stuff.
It's great social. Think about how sociology applies across an entire galaxy of planets.
So this is a good panel to ask us about this net neutrality thing. The FCC wants to assert it, and they have said we have the right, even though this district court in Washington, D.C. said you didn't quite do it right. The FCC says, okay, but we do have the right because we're going to regulate it. And now 73 Democrats wrote a letter, this is kind of weird, saying drop the net neutrality rules. That's a lot of House Democrats saying, no, we don't, what is it? Is it libertarian? They don't want the government involved?
Well, yeah, Democrats aren't usually libertarians.
You'd think they'd want the regulation.
Yeah.
My take on it is it's lobbyists. It's
they don't even know what they're talking about.
It's lobbyists for telcos,
yeah.
for ISPs of all large kinds,
and large media companies that are being purchased by telcos.
Because my position has always been we don't need net neutrality rules if we have enough competition.
Competition's the key.
But we don't have enough competition, especially on the backbone.
Here's what I'd like.
We have plenty of bandwidth. We just have people who have a vested self-interest in Comcast and AT&T and others in putting in a tiered internet where they can charge their competitors more to deliver video than they do because they're all in the content game.
But there is this
thing. Hasn't that been part of, the muddy waters of government for a long time? I mean, just because it's the internet and net neutrality that we're talking about doesn't mean that there isn't a little bit of that going on. I mean, it's kind of like, obviously, right?
Well, Comcast admitted to the fact that they were actually doing this to BitTorrent. Right?
Right.
I mean, and they said we have the right to do it.
Right. Well, and look,
they said we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. Do you believe them? Look, it's in a capitalistic environment. If you have control over things and you can make your stuff better than other people's stuff that are competing with you, you're going to do everything you can to make your things more viable and their things less viable.
That's what this letter says. Dear Chairman Genikowski, we are writing to reinforce the strong bipartisan consensus among policymakers, industry participants, and analysts that the success of the broadband marketplace stems from policies that encourage competition, private investment, and legal certainty. See, Comcast's point of view is, there's competition, but we know there's not competition.
There's not enough.
Well, and here's a real problem with competition also. I tried to do this. I have AT&T DSL at home, and I was just pissed off at them. And I was like, I'm going to go to Comcast. I call up Comcast. I'm like, can I switch? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's $42 a month. I was paying $30 a month. I'm like, that's all right. I can pay the extra $12 for more bandwidth. Oh, but they said that price is only if you sign up for television and for phone and all this other crap stick stuff. And I'm like, look, I like my DirecTV. I am not changing to Comcast television.
Right.
And it was like $60 a month.
Right.
So they wanted to charge me double. And I think that pricing problem is as big a deal as the other issues of them slowing down bits.
Caps, slowing down bits. The letter goes on to say the expanded FCC jurisdiction over broadband that has been proposed and the manner in which it would be implemented are unprecedented and create regulatory uncertainty. The controversy surrounding that approach will likely serve as a distraction, and this is Democrats talking, from what should be our nation's foremost communications priority, bringing broadband to every corner of America. But is it really a tit for tat?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you can say that if you put in net neutrality regulation that means that you're distracted somehow from providing broadband to the rural areas. But there is a point in that letter, which is what we should be focusing on is creating an environment where there is more competition, where you have more choice. That should be the priority.
But it's not. I got to tell you, this is not the subtext of this letter. The subtext of the letter is, and it's taken right out of the Comcast Verizon playbook, is, this will cause regulatory uncertainty, and we won't be able to invest in infrastructure because we don't know what's going to happen or if we can monetize our investments. So if you really want us to build out broadband, you better give us a free hand to run our business.
And that's a bunch of crap because they have been taking government money for decades to not build out their infrastructure. So why would things change if a few of these regulations go in place? And I'm not even saying I'm in favor of these regulations, but this reasoning is crap, and that's what I object to, is the idea that somehow if the FCC were to put in this very lightweight regulation, that they would stop the slow infrastructure build out that they already have. They haven't been building out their infrastructure anyway, and they have tons of subsidies.
Well,
why would that change?
Verizon already said they're going to stop. They're like, we're done. We're not doing any more of our fiber installs.
That's too bad, really?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Well, it's amazing they got as far as they did. Everybody I talked to said, this is completely a PR stunt by Verizon. There's no way they can monetize this. It's going to cost them $5,000 per subscriber to build out Fios. There's no way they're going to make that money back. It's a PR stunt so that people will think Verizon is faster and will buy Verizon DSL. Does that what you just said maybe makes that true?
Well, they did a pretty big build out, but they've stopped. More. Yeah, they did a lot with them. I can't.
I'm interested in this. I don't know. Have you guys heard of Allied Fiber? I saw it on GigaOM.
You're going to interview
this weekend. I'm going to try to get Hunter Newby, their CEO, to talk on Tuesday. They have a plan to put in a brand new fiber network, coast to coast, dark fiber, and run it neutrally. To say, you know what, all we're going to do is run this network. We're not going to get into content. We're not going to get anything else, and we're going to wholesale it out so that any ISP that wants to run on it can run on it.
I've been saying this for a long time. There's enough money in this. If you sell it wholesale like that, it doesn't cost that much. There's enough dark fiber. Switches aren't that expensive. Once you do the build out, there's not a whole lot of additional expense to maintain it.
Well, you know what I think?
This is a good test.
I think it would be a good, even if this net neutrality stuff goes in, price-based or access-based, they should make it so it's only for people who serve more than 100 or 150,000 customers so that we can get those small ISPs back that serve communities.
Yeah, I agree.
And make it easy for them to happen. You remember Brett Glass?
Mm-hmm.
You know, right, he runs an ISP in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He was a writer for ZD Network.
Right, yeah, wrote for a bunch of different places. The guy's running a little town ISP in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And net neutrality stuff, if it put in place, would probably kill his business.
Why is that?
Because of the additional restrictions that would be put
It's
on
like
him.
Sarbanes-Oxley. It's a stranglehold.
Yeah, and he writes actually very.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, yeah. So
too much regulation kills our business.
So let's have little. You know, anything you serve more than a couple 100,000 people, you got to follow the rules.
Comcast can afford it.
Yep.
But
Verizon.
Brett may not be able to. And I do have to think you have to do something to support these independent ISPs. You know, I talked to our guy here at SonicNet. That's where we get our big bandwidth for the streams. And Dane Jasper's a great guy, and he says, really, you know, they're putting in fiber in Sebastopol up here. He says they're really crunching us. They're really,
town. Woo.
yeah, represent Sebastopol.
Can I be really, really rude for a second and tell you guys I have dinner reservations and I have to go?
Where are you going?
Where are we going? Some Italian place.
Oh, have fun. We're done. We're done. We're just ranting on. We're just
sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but I just didn't want to sign off.
Is it in the West Village? Where you? Where's the?
No, I think either Upper East or Upper West, something 80th and something.
She doesn't want to tell people because then all the fans will come over and have dinner with her.
90th, 70th. Yeah.
I went to a great Italian restaurant in the West Village a couple of years ago. It was the best place. It felt like a scene out of Goodfellas. There was nowhere to sit, so they brought out a table. They whipped out they slid people over. Dr. Phil was there. I don't know why. Maybe they liked me. I don't know, but they made
Dr. Phil, the icing on the cake.
The icing on the cake.
Like any good Italian restaurant.
Dr. Phil was there.
Could you imagine Leo and Dr. Phil together? I think the time would stop. It would be so wild.
I waved at him.
You two would. I think you two should do a show together.
I said, "Yo, Phil, what's happening?" All right, go ahead. Have a wonderful time, Sarah Lane. It's so great. You're coming back. We'll see you in studio on Tuesday.
I'll be up there on Tuesday. I will be there. I want to be part of the action for the inaugural TNT. Woo! Yeah. Go Tom.
And
just to see everybody and settle into my new desk and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you got a desk. We gave you a desk, and apparently there's a PS3 waiting for you. PS2.
PS2, yeah.
Sorry.
A PS2 3286, yeah.
There's a big difference.
Is it a 386 SX?
286.
Full on. Oh, it's a 286.
Yeah, it's a 3286.
Okay.
I'll pay the farm bill. It'll be fine.
And I believe we're having lunch catered for you, and
yes.
It's going to be a lovely vegetarian lunch.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah,
I'm so
it's
excited.
Be a lot of fun. We'll see you.
Fun.
Sarah Lane, soon to be host of iPad Today and the Green Tech Today show on the TWiT network. Thank you, Sarah. Have a great dinner.
Thanks so much. Sorry to leave early. enjoy the rest of your guys' conversation. Good to see you all, and thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.
Bye, Sarah. Bye. Tom, we can wrap up. I'm kind of done. Unless you have a story, something that's on your mind, either of you that or the three of you that's big.
I just think that been keeping track of it. Have been at SID and talking to guys about what they're doing with the TVs, and everybody at SID was talking about 3D TVs and how they're spending all this money on putting 3D in, but it's really the internet access that I think is most fascinating.
I agree.
And I just,
of course, you and I run IPTV network, so of course we think that.
But so, what do you think about Google TV, Leo? I think it's going to be interesting.
I'm underwhelmed, to be honest with you. I mean, this is Apple's little hobby that hasn't really taken off. Google basically seems like they're adding a layer of internet on top of it. I don't see people wanting to have the internet on their TV. I do see a lot of people with a computer in their lap twittering. Do you think it should be on the TV? Could it ever be a lean back experience?
I think so. YouTube's coming out with their YouTube lean back. I don't know, Kevin. What do you think? What do you think about Google TV?
I don't know. I agree with Leo. I think you have your iPad in your lap, you have your laptop in your lap. Those are the devices you're going to use to surf the net. I don't think you're going to want to use your TV to ever surf the net. We've had internet on our TVs for a long time now through media center boxes and you name it. And the only thing it's ever been really good for is kind of like streaming Netflix, over your Xbox 360 and watching shows on you get an episode of Lost and you go and you download it later.
So
and then
we're in agreement. The idea of getting content over the internet is exciting. I just don't think what Google's doing for this is that exciting.
Well, what they will be able to do is, look, there is so much stuff out there now, and more is being created every day. And, in fact, we just surveyed our audience and found that, last year, Under a quarter of them actually watched any of our shows on a big screen.
Discoverability is a problem.
Right, but 45% now are watching in some form on their big screen TV.
Wow.
The thing that Google brings is the ability to go in and say, what's that Leo Laporte show?
You could find it. You could find
and
it.
have it pop up. I don't know. I think there's something there. I think if they can make it work right, and maybe this guy from Sidekick Palm is going to work on this instead of Android.
One of the most frequent questions I got at CNET and when I was doing the Real Deal was, what is the best way to get internet stuff on my TV? And they were talking about video specifically,
Right,
things
no good
like
way to do
Hulu and Netflix, and we need that one box that makes it easy to get everything. And that is what Google was saying they intended to do, was we don't care if it's over the air, coming through cable or satellite or the internet. We're going to make one interface that says, you tell us what you want to watch, we'll put it up on the screen for you. And if they actually deliver on that, I think that could be pretty revolutionary. I don't know whether they will as much as they promised.
Well, and I'm hoping that this is the first step in like a la carte television down the road.
Yeah, that's what we all want, right?
I only want ABC, I only want TNT, and be able to pick those channels and not have to pay, Comcast.
Well, the other thing that'll be interesting is, look, no one's going to want to do Twitter on their TV, right? No one's going to be posting status updates on the TV because the TV is a group experience, right? You're going to have your iPad or your cell phone or for whatever for that. But for a large screen experience, whether it's video or something else, why not? And, I just said to you, there's a great YouTube show out there called Annoying Orange. And I think it's really, really funny and cool. And it's really annoying and stupid. But I just said it. So now how are you going to go find Annoying Orange?
Well, you can do it on Apple TV, for instance, but it's a pain, and I've never done it.
Well.
It doesn't work that well.
So, and then imagine...
So the devil's in the implementation.
Give me your phone, one of your phones.
Well, I love the idea that you could do it with a phone.
So then the thing you do is you're watching your TV and you're like, hey... can you find Annoying Orange for me, TV? And it pops up, and there it is.
That was part of the demo.
That's what it's all going to do with these Android thingies. Here, you can have it back. I broke it.
Who was talking yesterday, sometime, that he said, we'll see. We'll see. DirecTV promised this kind of integration, never delivered. We'll see if Dish really does this. We'll see if Sony really does this, or if it's just a lot of people kissing up to Eric Schmidt.
Yeah, the thing that scares me is if you put it in your television. I talked to the guys at Roku. The CEO of Roku said, look, we did 9 software updates in the 4th quarter of our Roku box.
They just did one this week.
Right, and on the television, these guys are not set up to do software updates. We're doing this Yahoo Connected TV platform at Revision 3. We're going to roll it out. We got a Sony Bravia TV to test it on, the 2009 Sony Bravia TV. We put it on. We're looking at video's not working. We're like, oh, man, we screwed up on our app. We call up Sony. They're like, oh, video doesn't work on the Bravia 2009. And we're like, okay, can you get a software update for us? And they're like, oh, no, you have to buy a Bravia 2010 to get video to work on the thing. It's like, look, that is not an answer for a consumer.
Right.
No.
Well, and that's my TV. I just got a new Samsung. It's the first TV that I've ever owned that actually does, software updates.
The 7500, is that what you got?
I don't know which one it is. But
the Yahoo widgets?
It'll tell you when there's an update. It has all the Yahoo widgets and all that stuff.
I think it's a 7500.
Flash the firmware and reboot it. It's pretty cool.
I get all that stuff on my TV. I just need a Gateway Media Center, an Apple TV, a Roku, a Sony PS3, an Xbox
what about the
360.
rumors that Apple's going to do a $100 Apple TV that's streaming only, no storage, running...
It has small
running
flash storage, right?
Yeah.
I think that is a really interesting way to bring this platform into reality and out of the hobby for 2 reasons. One is it says, hey, we're going to start a cloud storage system for you, so you don't have to worry about storing all this video all the time.
Yep.
And I think the cloud can also be your home network, because one of the ways I use Apple TV right now is I just stream stuff off of the various computers we have, because I don't want to store it all in this tiny Apple TV I bought the first generation.
Now, Kevin, you've always been good on Apple rumors. You think we'll see this June 7th when Steve Jobs takes a stage?
I heard that they were working on something to compete with Spotify. So a streaming service, a streaming music service. So it's like a pay.
Well, they bought Lala, right?
Yeah. Right. That's a good point. So that's actually what they would probably use as their web interface for that.
Yeah, well, we're going to see a lot of great advances on the TV connecting up to the internet. Look, Boxy is coming out. The Pop Box is coming out. This Apple thing, Google. We already have the connected Blu-ray players are actually pretty good for Netflix.
Yeah, BD Live and all that.
Well, the Panasonic one actually has a really nice interface. It does Picasso.
Roku now will let you choose your Netflix Instant Play movies from the Roku box.
The Roku is they're continue to do great stuff with UFC and other things.
And if you don't have a Roku, get it so that you can watch Revision 3 and TWiT on Roku. Yep. I mean, it's a really great way. And streaming's coming. We keep being told that we are going to have streaming on the Roku very soon.
They're streaming. They're doing all the tests with UFC, the Ultimate Fight stuff, and they've been doing live streaming there.
And
I can't
Major
wait.
League Baseball streamed last year.
And the Major League Baseball experience
That's a
is
really
awesome.
good one.
I gave up DirecTV extra innings where I was paying a couple $100 a year for the Roku one.
You know who's smart?
It's $100.
MLB is smart because they get the $100 there. You pay $30 for the iPad app, and you can watch the streaming on the iPad. You can watch. If you're a baseball fan, Major League Baseball. It's funny. For a long time, I thought David Stern was the bright guy at NBA. MLB has leapfrogged him
Major
on
League
this.
Baseball Advanced Media, which is a separate company from Major League Baseball, is responsible for that.
Very smart.
And it was a smart move on MLB to say, you guys know what you're doing.
do it.
You go and do it.
Well, and they're going broad. Like the Boxy Major League Baseball app is also very good. So I want to see football do that, but that'll be a while.
It does. I mean, you have to have DirecTV. I have the DirecTV app on my iPhone.
Right, you have to have
in-game streaming on the iPhone.
I have the same thing. Exactly. I have DirecTV. It works, but I want to see them do it where I don't have to pay DirecTV.
Now, this is that suburbia thing because the app, they control it entirely versus maybe something like Sling where you have a Sling box and you could watch whatever is on your TV on your iPad. They are going to do an iPad app.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing where, and if I'm Major League Baseball, I prefer the suburbia. I prefer the gated community because I get all the revenue. Yeah. I control the experience. Major League Baseball on the iPad is spectacular.
What they did that was really clever, too, is they said it's only one subscription. Once you buy your MLB TV subscription, you can use it on the Roku, you can use it on the iPad, but they charge you for the iPad app. So they do get a little more blood
or $20, yeah. But it's nicely done. Oh, the Giants won. That's good.
I wish the Cardinals would win.
Kevin Rose. You know what? This is how TWiT started was, and you were there, Kevin. We were at the 21st Amendment Brewery right after Macworld in 2005, and it was just like this. We just sat around BSing, and it was so much fun. And here we are, 250 episodes later. 250. Kevin, I'm so glad you could be here. Thank you.
Awesome.
Jim Louderback, Tom Merritt. It's been really fun. And Kevin, you come back now when you got Dig 4, and can't wait to see that.
I'm going to drive out and we'll hang out at the cottage.
Oh, good. That'll be really nice to have you. Really nice to have you. Kevin Rose is at dig.com. He's the CEO there, and this is your first big CEO thing you're going to do. This rollout.
Not for long. I'm trying to find a replacement.
Oh, you're the ICEO?
Yeah, I'm the yeah, exactly. I'm basically going to fill those shoes for another couple months until we find someone full time. So
you're doing such a great job. I don't know if the board will let you.
We'll see.
We'll see. We're proud of Kevin, aren't we? He's done.
No kidding,
He's
man.
done so well. It's really neat. It's really neat. Thank you, Kevin. Tom Merritt, so excited. June 1st, TNT makes its debut on the TWiT network. Go to twit.tv/TNT to subscribe. In fact, it's already climbing up the charts on iTunes.
Yeah,
which
last
is
I looked,
weird.
it was #3 overall in the U.S. It was #2 in Canada, and there's no shows.
There's
So
no shows
pressure.
on it. No shows on the feed, but you are hot.
You mean overexposed? Or?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what to say. Anyway, Tom, we'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a lot of fun with Becky Worley. Sarah will be here. I'll be here. It's gonna be a party, and maybe you could come too, Jim, if you want.
Not Tuesday. I'll be with Kara.
You're going to D.
Yes.
Boy, what a lineup there!
I'll hit you up to be a guest on one of these, though.
Go for it.
Yeah,
I'm happy to.
Steve Ballmer is going to be there. Steve Case, Julius Janikowski, the chairman of the FCC.
This is D, not Tech News Today.
Steve Jobs, Alan Mullally of Ford. He's a great guy. I really like Alan. Ray Ozzie from Microsoft. The co-founder of Demand Media, Richard Rosenblatt. You might ask him some questions.
Ask him about how their
Maybe some interesting questions. President of CEO of NPR, Vivian Schiller. Mark Zuckerberg will be there as well. That's going to be fun. You going out to D, Kevin?
I'm not. No, I'm staying in town. I got too much stuff to work on.
I would think if you were, your name would be on there. Kara and we were hoping that Kara and Walt would join us today, but they just got too busy. We'll have them on another time. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Tom Merritt. Thank you, Jim Louderback. Go to revision3.com and watch that new Penn Jillette show. It's fantastic. And the new gaming show.
Food Mob.
And Food Mob. I forgot.
Food Mob. Awesome show.
You're getting every
You should
little...
get Niall on sometime. That guy's...
I'd love to.
He's awesome.
I'd love to. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Revision3.com. I'm Leo Laporte. We thank you so much for joining us today on TWiT. We hope you'll come back. You can watch the show live. We do it every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. You can watch on your twit.tv webpage, the TWiT app for the iPad, the TWiT app for the iPhone, soon to be on other platforms near you. I guess that's all there is to say. Another TWiT is in the can. See you next week. Go ahead, say it.
No. There's a way to pull a cork out if it's you're having trouble with it.
Yeah.
It involves putting it between your legs.
Right.
And pulling.
Right.
But
Jim, please.
that's why I wasn't going to say it. But Leo, of course,
Right.
egged me on.
I did.
Of course, it didn't take that much egging.
Have we started the podcast
I'm
This is
yet?
the podcast.
Or open a bottle of wine?
Yeah.
We're not-
We could start now. I just didn't want to start while she was straining.
Oh, no. I can talk and strain.
Okay.
Not a problem.
All right. It's time for Twit the show. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I'm done. That's enough.
Be my
Go
guest.
ahead.
Just speak.
I'm ready for Twit.
Speak now. It's good.
Let's join. I'm for Twit.
If you leave it like that and put it back in the minibar, do you think they'll charge you?
Half a cork.
Yes. I
Half a
sure
cork.
do.
Half a cork. Half a cork onward.